Most regular people are very frustrated and confused by like someone like that who's working for the White House. Like, how? How did that person get in there? Did that person get in there just because they dress like that? Because I think they did.
Yeah.
I think they did.
Right.
I think that's how goofy they are. Did you see the White House press secretary lady the other day? She was touting all the different like minorities and all the different people of, all the different women, how many women work for the White House now, a record number of people in the LGBTQ community work in the White House. Like all these things that, okay, how are they doing?
Yeah.
How's this working?
Right.
This doesn't seem like it's working that well. Like we don't care. Like that's not what most people care about. And if you're lesbian and you're great at your job, awesome. If you're gay and you're great at your job, awesome. But that shouldn't be all we're hearing about.
Right.
Shouldn't be all we're hearing about is your identity, the identity politics thing. Like as if somehow or another doing that is great for everybody. Like, do you think about that when you look for anything good? Do you think about like, well, I hope the staffing there is very diverse? Like, don't you hope whoever the fuck is there is the best at whatever the fuck they do? That's what you're thinking about.
Right. Is that what they would want their doctor to walk in looking like?
Exactly. I saw there was an internet meme about that. About, what do you say when, your house is on fire? Are you hoping the firefighting team is diverse that are coming to save you? There's been a few of these, but they're like, yeah, like that's not what you want. You want diversity because you want people to all have an opportunity to do things. You want it, but you don't want to force it. Like you can't put people in a position that shouldn't be in the position just because of the color of their skin or where they were born. That's crazy. And if there's like a real problem with people of one group or another group not getting the opportunities, then we should address that because that's the real problem. Everybody's at each other's throats for the wrong things. When the real things are you have these massive communities of disenfranchised people like Youngstown, like where you grew up, like Detroit, like Baltimore. There's places like that all over the country. And we just sent how many billions of dollars to Ukraine? Did we always have that money laying around?
It's crazy.
Okay, but whether or not you agree that we should support Ukraine or not, I don't understand it. It scares the shit out of me. But if you had all that money laying around, you know how many things you could have fixed? Like, the real problem is people not getting the same, situation to grow up in. Not getting a situation that's not filled with violence and drugs and gangs and chaos and shit. But no one's trying to fix that. Like, if you want to fix the way people think about each other, if everybody had, like, a decent chance, pretty much everybody had a decent chance. Like the whole country, you'd have way less problems. You got places where people are fucked from the jump, and no one's doing anything to stop that. No one's doing anything to try to help. That's the real problem in this country. It's not like most people don't give a fuck who you are. They just like you to be good at what you do, and they like you to be fun to be around. Mm-hmm. We all find each other's groove. Like, oh, this is Mike. He's fucking weirdo, but he's cool about this. And we all find our groove with each other. How many comics do we know that are gay? Nobody gives a shit.
Right.
How many comics do we know that are of every ethnicity, every race? When you're hanging around with comics, it's just who's funny.
Right.
It's just who's good, who's cool to hang with. Nobody gives a fuck about that. That should be the whole world. That should be the whole world. I don't know if you get there by forcing people to get hired because they're a certain race or a certain gender or certain anything. I think you got to get it to the point where all these people have the same sort of crack at it. So then it just becomes a meritocracy, like a real meritocracy. Because that's the argument against it. It's like it's not a meritocracy if people experience racism or sexism, or if people grow up, disenfranchised and they grow up in bad areas. Like they deserve like a little bit of an extra help, and maybe they should be hired first. This is the way that's the thought process behind it. But I think that encourages like someone who's not as good to succeed,
right.
And I don't think that's good for anybody.
Right.
I think the best people should succeed. We just have to figure out like how to make that fair. But the best people should succeed in everything. That's the way we get better at stuff. That's it.
The NFL, I'm sure you probably know about this, but they have a very, very interesting thing that they're doing where you literally get better, what is it, draft picks or something based on how many black coaches you have so you can literally reconstruct your team. You can build it stronger. Is it draft picks or is
so you get more draft
a bigger
picks?
salary cap or something? It's wild.
The salary cap is wild because if there wasn't a salary cap, the Saudis would just come in, and then we go. We have an idea.
Yeah.
Everybody $1 billion.
Yeah.
And just buy up. Like I think those guys have more money than we could possibly comprehend.
They're doing it with golf. That
Yeah, that
LIV.
it seems to be working.
Yep.
Is it? No, Jamie. Shaky.
Well,
Tell me, Jamie.
What's the definition of working? I guess would be.
Are they having successful events?
They're just
that's
starting.
the definition of a successful event.
Oh, well, now we're cutting hairs. I don't know golf, so you tell me. Like, what's a successful event?
They just had their first event of the year, and the response online is people aren't that into watching it. It was on the CW, I think, in the United States, so it's a little tough to find that in the first place. Like, I don't get it.
Interesting.
It's aired a way different way than they aired PGA golf. It's aired to everybody. You see all the shots at the same time, kind of. Everyone's playing at once, which is way different.
Yeah.
Especially if you've watched the Full Swing show that just started on Netflix.
Interesting.
They're explaining golf to people who don't really know it that well. There is a lot of money in there, though. That's for sure. Wow. So that's successful for those people.
That's interesting. So professional pool is encountering a little bit of a renaissance. It's very interesting. There's a few companies that are putting on these events, like Predator's putting on these events, and Matchroom Pool. And they have these and they're streaming them live online. And it's becoming successful again. Like pool, because they're streaming them online, like people are into it again. It's very interesting. And it's just, they're doing them, the World Championships this weekend from the Rio.
Nice.
I'm going to try to stop in on Friday and check it out.